Hey lovelies, you're welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Today I want to talk about Lexi exposing Chris for the kind of father that he was. Now, I feel like this is a very good example of men that feel like I pay child support and that is all I need to provide to you as a child. When in fact there is a whole lot more than financial provision. There is emotional provision, spiritual. There are so many things that quality time with your child will never be able to replace. And I feel like that is something that Chris missed out on. And if I were him, I will make amends. But just before we get into it, everything I will say in this video is alleged in my own opinion only and for entertainment purposes. Also, please don't forget to hit that like button as you guys come in. It's a free way to support the channel. Also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And don't forget to share with your friends and leave a comment in the comment section below. Now let's get into it. So Lexi talked about when she was young, Chris took her to another woman's house. And this is a woman that he was cheating with. And this lady bought her a Christmas gift. And she was just so excited to receive it because she was a child. Chris, you were wrong. I don't understand men that bring their children into grown people's business. If you want to cheat, why bring your children into it, or why bring your child into it? She did not need to be part of it in any way. She did not need to be involved in it. I don't know why he thought it would be a good idea for her to be involved in the mix. There was no need for that, in my opinion. You mean to tell me you can't get a babysitter, you can't get a family member to look after your child whilst you go see about the side chick? No, it's not right. Especially because it's only a matter of time before the wifey finds out that your child went with you. And one thing I've also noticed about resentment is sometimes resentment doesn't always build towards the person that is meant to be built towards. Like, let's say, for instance, instead of resenting Chris, she may resent Chris, but then Nell may also resent Lexi, because in her mind, Lexi was also part of this. Why would you go to another lady's house? But that girl was just a child. I definitely think it was irresponsible of Chris to have actually done that. I would always think, like, if you're going to bring somebody around your children or child or whatever, it has to be somebody that you have chosen to be with. It is not responsible to bring a side chick knowing fully well you have a wife. It's almost like you're also teaching your child that this behavior is acceptable, to cheat on your wife and not respect commitment. That is a terrible way to be raised. Thank goodness gracious that Lexi is not that kind of person, because I know people who have been exposed to some of these sorts of behaviors with their fathers, and then they ended up choosing terrible men who also do the same thing that their father was doing to their mom. So it's just like sometimes this thing falls into like generational issues where the person that was exposed to that behavior either becomes the one that is out here frolicking and doing nonsense, or they end up with someone who is just like their father. And I pray that Lexi is not in that kind of situation, because some children actually end up in replica situations of what they were exposed to. She basically said that after that, Nell never let her be alone with her dad anymore. And I can imagine, because she's thinking, even you being with your child is not stopping you from going out there to be seeing the side chick. Because he was probably out there saying, oh, we're just going to go and do this together, knowing fully well that he's using that as an excuse to sneak off to see the side chick, in my opinion. So if that's the case, I don't blame Nell for being like, yeah, nah, if you're going to see your daughter in front of me. I feel like the more Lexi talks, the more it is obvious that Chris is to blame. And Nell is just a product of the hand that she has been dealt, and how she has now chosen to move on in her relationship. Because let's be honest, if you know that your man is out here cheating and you choose to stay with him, and the only time he gets to cheat is when he takes his daughter out, you mean to tell me you wouldn't say, no more taking your daughter out without me, let's all be going together? Of course, I don't think that's right, but I understand how somebody can get to that decision, in my opinion. I feel like there can still be a level of empathy to try to understand where Nell is coming from, being the woman that was cheated on by Chris. She talks about how Chris was always late to pick her up and he missed the most important things in her life. Apparently, he even missed her baby shower when her baby was born, and that made her very upset. I can imagine. It's like, imagine someone has not been present for you your whole life. For some reason, you always think like they will show up for the things that really matter deep down, or maybe genuinely you just hope that they would. And when they don't show up, it's like, you feel like you finally cannot make excuses for them. And I personally feel like that's where Lexi got to when it came to the baby shower and her baby being born, because it's like, it's one thing to say you're busy and you can't make it for like practice, all these things. But then when it comes to something like a baby shower, something like the baby being born, that is very serious. And so I'm not surprised that Lexi would have been upset. I feel like if I was in that situation too, I would be upset, especially if that was a relationship that I wanted from a parent, right? She said apparently as she got older, the whole family would be in the car, or maybe her siblings would be in the car and they'll pick her up. And she never really spent like one-on-one time with Chris as a child. My thing is, and this is what I mean about it's a very, very bad thing to date men that are too laid back and men that are not proactive, men that are not intentional. Because I feel like the thing about Chris gives the vibe that he's not very intentional. He's very laid back. He goes with the wind, which means if everybody is hanging out together in the house and stuff, instead of him to say, okay, I haven't really caught up with Lexi one-on-one, let me pull Lexi to the side to have a conversation with her and just check in with her. He didn't do that. As a parent, you're the one that needs to be pulling your child out so you can have a chat with them, especially when they're younger, right? Until you guys have developed that relationship where you both can then take turns at like, okay, if you want to pull up and have a chat with your mom or your dad, you already have that kind of relationship. But what it sounded like is Chris never had any one-on-one time with her, so they were never really able to build a relationship outside of just being present in the family or in the family. Does that make sense? Like family gatherings or family at all, right? Because you don't even know who your dad is because you never have one-on-one time with your dad. It's your dad and everybody else. Lexi also talks about how she struggled to even talk to her therapist about her relationship with her dad when she was asked about it. Yes, it can be really difficult, especially when you don't have a relationship with somebody. And this is somebody that a lot of like, as a child, most children look up to their parents for validation. They look towards their parents for a sense of belonging. And when you don't get that from your father as a girl, as a woman, that can have some lasting impact. And so I think it's interesting. First of all, I love that she has been in therapy. I think that is very important because it's good to be able to unlearn some of these things that you may have picked up and also deal with some of the trauma that may have been experienced, right? Talk through it, have someone who's a professional listen and be able to give some guidance as to moving forward, right? So I think that's really, really a good thing that she has been involved in. She did also talk a little bit about her brother, who she had mentioned previously that at 16 he had a baby and their relationship kind of just like went off because he was more focused on his family, which absolutely makes sense. Even when she said it, that's literally how she was like relaying it, right? She said that she tried to talk to Chris about having a relationship with her and talk more, but she just didn't remember Chris ever agreeing or like following through about them spending time together at all. I honestly think that is very sad. As a parent, wouldn't you want to have a relationship with your child? Your child shouldn't be the one trying to beg for a relationship with you. You're the parent. You should be proactive in setting that up and making sure that you have a relationship with your child, especially when they're younger, right? Like, the older they get, I guess if you've instilled in them that relationship prior to that, then it's easier for you guys to naturally transition into an adult relationship where there is still mutual respect, love, and understanding, right? She did also talk about like over the years, things like she was doing cheerleading for 13 years. He never showed up to anything. He never showed up to her piano recitals. She mentioned joining Steve Harvey's Dreamers Academy. It just sounded like he was an absentee dad. I get the vibe that he just felt like all I have to do is provide the funds, and was providing child support, whatever amounts that he was paying, and just thought like, I ain't got to do nothing else. Like, I really do not have to do nothing else. And I've seen this behavior in some men who feel like, especially if they're not on good terms with the mother of the child, they just feel like, well, I'm even doing my best by paying child support. Like, I ain't got to do nothing. That's your child. That is your responsibility. So yes, you do have to do something. And what you do have to do and should be doing is way more than money. I don't know where a lot of men get the idea that if they're financially providing, that means they are doing everything they need to do. No, they are not. Absolutely not doing what you need to do. There is a lot more to life, to raising a child, than just providing financially. Even in relationships, like some men are just like, I'm a provider. Like, okay, I hope you know there's more to provide than just financial. So I think that was where there was a gap. She felt like nothing was important enough in her life for her father to show interest, support, encouragement. Even when she graduated from college, that is so sad. This made me feel like, nah, that's wild. There was no congratulations card. There was nothing. That is very, very sad. Imagine the person you're looking to for validation, for upliftment, for encouragement is unable to provide that to you. I just hope that her mom provided her with those things. Anyway, that is all I want to talk to you guys about today. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are you team Lexi or are you team Chris and Nell? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button and tap that bell button right next to it so you know every single time that I post. Also, please share this video and I'll see you guys in the chat. Thank you. Bye.